Welcome back to our Wisco Radio pregame show, joined by Vikings head coach Bret St Arnauld. Bret, it's November. You guys are playing some football. It's got to feel pretty good.
Anytime you're playing in November, that means you've had some good games, and we've had two really good ones so far.
Well, last week, taking on Baraboo, it's a team we previewed, a tough-nosed team. They really made you fight for every point, every yard you got last week. Just talk about the opening of that game. It's another game where you saw a responding score. You guys scored to open the game. Baraboo goes down, they score. It's a one-point game. You kind of knew at that point it was going to be a tough game. Yeah, we knew coming in. You know, they've got some tough dudes and knew they're physical. I mean, they beat or lost to Alaska by 1 earlier this year. They really only had one game that got out of hand. So we knew it was going to be tough. Coming out the gate, and they got a couple. Had a D1 recruit on the defensive line in Ligal. He's a really good football player, and the quarterback was shifty, strong, tough runner. We handled the adversity. I mean, we got to handle punches, right? That's just kind of where it's at. Physically, at this time of year, it's Wisconsin. People are going to run the ball, and I think that we responded extremely well. I mean, they were maybe getting some yards here and there, but I think our offense puts a lot of pressure on offenses to perform. And then that turnover that they had was a big turning point for us, obviously. But then we make them go pay, and that's the thing that what happens with our offense is it's able to score very quickly and very efficiently with anybody. So I think that puts a lot of pressure and strain on people. And, going into this game, it's not going to be much different. Well, let's talk about the second and third quarters with your team. Again here against Baraboo, you score 15 points. You hold the opposing team to no points. And that's been a trend all year. You guys have been very, very good in the second and third quarters.
Yeah, I think that second quarter, for some reason, first quarter, we seem to, if we punt during the game, it seems to be in the first quarter. It doesn't seem to ever be in the second, third, or fourth. It always seems to be the first. I don't know why. I don't know what the case is with that, but it's just kind of been our trend. But in second quarter, it seems like we get our traction going. I think our kids the nerves have settled down. And then we get our feet into the dirt a little bit, and we're ready to rock and roll. And I think that kind of carries out through the rest of the game. So yeah, second quarter's been kind of our quarter. You can kind of go look by our score breakdown. Our first quarter is not really it's actually our worst quarter. Second quarter is by far our best quarter this season, and third quarter second. So right there in the middle of the game, we seem to play our best football, which is. That theoretically you'd want to play your best right out the gate, but neither here nor there. Second quarter, third quarter, I mean, as long as you're putting together points, that's what matters.
Well, speaking of points, Baraboo came in, looked like they were really committed to stopping the run from your running back position, and they did that pretty effectively. T.O. just under 40 yards, an atypical, not a typical night for him, but again, Casey, he complements your offense obviously so well. He rushed the ball for almost 80 yards, had over 200 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Another spectacular night out of your senior quarterback.
Yeah, Casey, he's just a special kid, special athlete. Obviously, can throw the ball over the place, can run it too. And he's just been special all year. He's made great decisions all year, and he'll take what they're giving him. If they're going to give him the scramble, he'll pull it down and run. And if he gives the ball, obviously he can find his receivers. He showed that on Friday night as well. He's got a great deep ball. He goes through his read progressions extremely well. Is really calm, cool, and collected in the pocket. Always has been from a junior, and now in his senior, he's even better at it. I think that he's just kind of our catalyst, and that's what you want out of spread offense, is your quarterback to be your catalyst. I mean, and that's the thing. You showed that if you shut down Trenton, that doesn't stop our offense. You have to stop multiple facets of our offense. It's not just Trenton. It's not just Chris. It's not just Casey. It's not just LJ. It's not just OP. On top of it, we got a really solid, strong offensive line. So I think that with that being the case, I think it makes it very difficult to stop us.
Well, speaking of your offense and some guys who maybe haven't had the highlights all year, somebody like Owen Ashelman, who has really come in as of late, 2 playoff games, 2 touchdowns for somebody who has been under the radar. He's been on the field plenty, but it's got to be fun and rewarding to see somebody like Owen come through and catch a couple touchdown passes.
Yeah, Ash he's been a staple in our defense all year. He's just been a solid from our safety spot. Just really, really good. And then offense, he's just a nice athlete out there. That's what he is. He's a great athlete, and at receiver, he can be dangerous. I think people lose him because you see 12 and 4 out there, and even 24, and then 2, and then all of a sudden 1 comes on the field, and people think that, oh, we don't have to worry about number 1. No, Owen's a great athlete, and he shows that now in the postseason. He's, like you said, he's got 2 touchdowns. He shows his explosiveness and his versatility. He's been really good for us in the playoffs so far, and we're hoping to continue with him with that.
Well, the other side of the ball defensively, again, you hold the team to 13 points, and you guys have been really good at stopping teams defensively. Your usual suspects, Brooks Pernotz had another great game. You turned Baraboo over, which is something you've been doing as of late. But what's been really impressive has been the emergence of a couple sophomores. Jack Wilson, Harrison Walker, for example, we called his name a couple times. Looks like they're getting more confidence, and the defense as a whole is really playing very well.
Yeah, I think that our defense has really evolved throughout the year. When Z went down, we had to have some sophomores eventually step up, and then Landon kind of getting hurt there. That really put us in a bit of a bind. But then 2 sophomores really showed that they could handle the ins and outs of a varsity game. And I know that first game in there, they had some sophomore blips, but every week they progressively getting better. I mean, Jack and Harry are totally getting a leg up. It's kind of like what happened with Brooks and LJ and Austin when they were sophomores, when they got all that varsity experience. It really helped them going into their second year. And I think that that's going to be the case for these 2 as well. They're getting invaluable experience. And as a defense as a whole, we're a young defense. I mean, overall, we are a very young defense. We don't have a lot of seniors out there that are starting, number 1. And we're getting a lot of sophomores and juniors getting a lot of experience on the defense. And I think that our defensive line has just been totally stepping up to the plate. And obviously our linebackers are flying to the football. And then Brooks is he's always in there. So you can always spot 7. I think our defense as a whole has grown throughout the year, which is exactly what you obviously want, playing your best football at the right time, especially going against an offense like Notre Dame this week. We've thought that Seymour and Baraboo would really get us prepared for this game physically. And Baraboo they showed out. I mean, they brought the physicality. They were ready to take it to us, and they did. It was fully what we expected. And I think that that's going to lead us into this week, understanding what Notre Dame's going to try to do. They're going to do the same. They're going to try and punch us in the mouth, and we just have to be able to withstand it, right? We got a Rocky Balboa to essentially bend but don't break. Take a few punches because they're a good team, and against good teams, they're going to get some yards here and there, but we have to limit the damage. So if we can limit the damage, I think that's exactly kind of what our defense has been doing, is limiting the damage. And the only time that we've seemed to give up points is when all of a sudden it gets washed behind the bodies. It's been that way since Portage. Same thing in Seymour. Same thing against Baraboo last week. Just got lost behind a bunch of bodies in the offense that they run. We're hoping not to have that this week. We're hoping that doesn't happen this week, and we can kind of shut that down. So,
what are you hoping out of your team here? This is going to be a fun matchup. A 1 versus 2 seed. 2 very good teams going at it here in level 2. Or level 3, pardon me. What do you need out of your team to advance to level 4?
Well, I said that I talked to a couple people, and they asked what the keys of the game are, and I think that, number 1, we got to make Notre Dame punt the ball 3 times. I feel like if we can make Notre Dame punt the ball 3 times, we're going to be in really good shape. And that doesn't include stopping them on a 4th down or making a turnover. I think that three extra possessions is what we're aiming for. Offensive execution, finishing drives. I think that we have to really put pressure on them from the offensive side of the ball that we have with everybody else all season long, forcing their offense to be pretty much perfect, because that's what our offense has been, is pretty near perfect all season long. So if we can do that and apply the pressure, I think that this is a team that hasn't been in a lot of close games. They've dominated a lot of games. I feel like if they were to get down, we might put some pressure on them. And that's kind of the hope, we be able to put that pressure on them. When we got to get hats to the football. They got a really good running back in Christian Collins. We have to make sure we surround him, make sure we get a lot of hats to the ball, and make sure we stuff him and rally to the football. If we do those things, I think we do those 3 things well, I think that I like our chances. All
right, we are looking forward to it. To level 3 action here at Viking Stadium. Has to feel pretty good. Coach St Arnauld with us on our Wisco Radio pregame show. Stay tuned for the Vikings and the Tritons of Notre Dame Academy right here on Wisco Radio.